Hello, welcome. This is RJ from Game News USA, and today we are going to go over the NFL Week 15 recap, so stay tuned and please subscribe. Alright, let's jump right into it. So first, on Thursday Night Football, we had the Los Angeles Rams defeat the 49ers 12-6. All field goals in this game, no touchdowns. It was a little rainy, a little of a sloppy game here. The Rams are red hot on fire. The 49ers are ice cold. They're going in opposite directions. And we're moving on to Sunday. They are in the early games. The Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Cleveland Browns 21-7. What's this? A comfortable win for the Chiefs. Not so fast, not so comfortable, because Patrick Mahomes sustained a high ankle sprain injury. And now the question is, will he play? Will he not play? Spoiler alert, he's going to play, but he probably shouldn't. Next up, we had the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Tennessee Titans 37-27. Joe Burrow is fucking amazing. His team sucks, his defense sucks, but the man has like 37 touchdowns and 5 interceptions or something like that. But Bengals get the win. They're barely alive at 6-8. I don't know how they're going to catch up, but they're trying to stay in it to win it. They probably need the Chargers to beat the Broncos because the Bengals need to catch the Broncos, more than likely. Next up, we have Washington defeating the Saints 20-19. The Saints were able to come back late in the game and actually score a touchdown, and they did what I would do. Go for two and go for the win with no time left. However, it failed. The Washington Commanders are in command of that last playoff spot in the NFC. Next up, the Ravens blew out the Giants 35-14. Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdowns. The Giants are looking to tank. The Ravens took care of business. They're trying to get on a roll heading into the playoffs. Lamar is having probably his best season, which is crazy because he's a 2-time MVP, and he won't win the MVP this year, but look at his stats. They're astronomical this year. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys smacking around the Carolina Panthers 30-14. Dallas, Carolina, neither one of them are going anywhere. Speaking of teams that aren't going anywhere, the New York Jets defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 32-25. The last 2 weeks, Aaron Rodgers has kind of played decent. He's kind of played good. He's trying to audition to remain a starting quarterback in the NFL. If not, we are looking at the dying days of Rodgers. Jacksonville just sucks. Next up, we had the Houston Texans defeating the Miami Dolphins 20-12, clinching the AFC South. The Dolphins were fighting hard for a wild card spot. This probably ended any idea that they could come back and do that. The Texans are looking decent. They're starting to really turn it on as the season goes on. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos defeating the Indianapolis Colts 31-13. This was huge for playoff seeding, because had the Colts won this game, they would have possibly had the inside track to the 7th seed. Now they're definitely on the outside looking in. They lost the division as well. Denver was able to win despite Bo Nix throwing for 3 interceptions. This team is really good, man. Look out for them next year. The Buffalo Bills were able to defeat the Detroit Lions 48-42 in the game of the day. Despite the fact that Jared Goff threw for nearly 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, this game had no defense, and it even had Dan Campbell going for an onside kick with 12 minutes left in the game. Buffalo, again in another shootout, was able to win this time, though, in the highest scoring game of the year. Detroit's mounting up injuries on the defense, and I have a little bit of concern for both these teams' defenses, but there's no question they have high-powered offenses. And Josh Allen is looking like the MVP frontrunner. Speaking of someone who was in the MVP frontrunner conversation but maybe took a little step back, Saquon Barkley and the Eagles were able to beat the Steelers 27-13. this time mostly on the arm of Jalen Hurts, passing to A.J. Brown. This comes just a few days after we heard the rumors that they weren't friends anymore and they weren't happy. Well, they should be happy because the Eagles have the NFL high 10 win streak in a row right now, and they're balling out. The Arizona Cardinals defeated my New England Patriots 30-17. I guess it helps our draft position. Arizona, trying to stay alive in the playoff race, couldn't afford to lose this game. Then we had the Bake Show against the highest scoring defense, the best defense in the NFL points per game. The Bake Show was able to put on 40 against the Chargers in a 40-17 win. And the Bucs are really rounded into form. Their schedule was favorable. This was like the hardest game left on their schedule, and they won it. And they lead the NFC South now. Sunday Night Football, the Green Bay Packers laid and hurting on the Seattle Seahawks in their building 30-13. Going to prove once again the Green Bay Packers are for real. They just have to find a way to get past the Eagles, Vikings, and Lions. I don't know if they can. Seahawks still fighting for that division, though. Then we had a Monday night doubleheader. The Minnesota Vikings, who are for real, by the way, won 30-12. Caleb Williams' body language was poor. The Bears look in disarray. It's a mess there. People had high expectations, including me. It's just not working out. They need to find their coach and get this figured out and fixed. Meanwhile, the Vikings, who nobody had expectations for, are sitting at 12-2 and tied with the Eagles and Lions for the top record in the NFC. It may come down to that Week 18 matchup between them and the Lions for that number 1 seed, or at least the division, which matters greatly for who has the advantage going into the playoffs. And lastly, we had the Atlanta Falcons defeat the Raiders 15-9, and the Raiders had a chance to win despite the fact they have the worst record in the NFL. They threw the ball in the end zone with no time left, and they almost caught it but couldn't quite get it. Falcons win. They weren't too happy about it. They've been reeling and struggling. They're 7-7 trying to keep up with the Bucs. Good news for them, they have a tiebreaker and actually lead the Bucs if they're able to tie them with that tiebreaker for the division. But we'll have to see what happens. So with that being said, guys, that was the NFL Week 15 recap. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you much for watching. Peace. I'm out. Have a good one.